So a little bit, we'll go ahead and get started. A quick introduction to myself before I move on to Dr. Gross. My name is Charise Bennet. I am an admissions advisor for the Master's in Psychology program. I am also a graduate of the program myself. I graduated in 2023, and I had a wonderful time with the program that I came to start working for Divine Mercy last year, late last year. So I'm happy to be here with you today to discuss the Master's in Psychology program. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Christopher Gross, who is one of the professors here at Divine Mercy. Can you give a little introduction about yourself?
Sure. So I've been at DMU for almost 10 years. I am actually a moral theologian by training. So we'll talk a little bit about the integrative approach at DMU, but every program at DMU has one or more moral philosophers or moral theologians assigned to it. So I work in the MSP. And I've had the great privilege of not just teaching Cerise, but also working with her since she came onto the admissions team. And I live just outside of, right near the school, just outside of Washington, D.C., where it is, as I mentioned earlier, sweltering right now. My wife and we have 7 kids. And despite the heat, everybody still goes outside and plays a lot, which is great.
Um, so we are again the Master's in Psychology program, Divine Mercy University. It is 100% online, no GRE required, and is a non-clinical degree. Let's go ahead and get started, Dr.
Sure. Um, so I said I've been at DMU for almost 10 years. Before I came to DMU, I was a youth minister. I taught in high school for 3 years. I saw a lot of folks on the side maybe had some similar backgrounds in ministry or education. And within those settings, I was equipped to do theology. I hadn't done doctoral work, but I had done master's work, but often found that something was lacking in my work with people. I didn't know it at the time, but really what was lacking was training in psychology. DMU started actually the other way. It was several psychologists who got together and figured out what was lacking in psychology was really attention to the Catholic Christian understanding of the person. So several of them got together in 1999 and founded the Institute for Psychological Sciences. Since that point, the school has continued to add programs, continued to grow to the point that we moved away from the Institute for Psychological Sciences. We became Divine Mercy University in 2015, became accredited. We have a school of counseling along with the MSP, which is part of the global campus. And then we also have an on-ground PsyD program. And the school itself is located in Sterling, Virginia, near Dulles Airport, if you've ever flown in or out of there. So the campus continues to expand. The number of students and programs continues to grow, which has been a real blessing because obviously there's a tremendous need in our world today for spiritual and psychological healing. And our university tries to participate in that process. Reese, could you go to the next slide? Thank you. So I am filling in tonight for Dr. Klausley. She is our program director, lives in South Carolina, and she is a statistician. She's done a great job leading the program. Charise will talk to you a little bit later on about the different areas of concentration, but Dr. Klausley has helped develop those different tracks, human services, marriage and family, and a few other tracks so that you can tailor the program at DMU to fit your needs, whether it's the career that you are currently in or the career that you are moving into. Bruce, could you go to the next slide? So this is probably, for me as the moral theologian assigned to the MSP, this is probably my most important slide. So some practical details here about the program. It's 100% online and it's asynchronistic. So what that means is you don't have to be in the same place at the same time to do the program. So several other programs have, everyone has to log on at a set time. DMU does not have that. We offer class meetings that are live, but they're recorded and they're optional, and you can also send in your questions for those meetings ahead of time for faculty members to answer. So we have students that are from all over the globe: Africa, Australia, West Coast, East Coast, Canada, kind of everywhere. Everybody's on different time zones. So it is 100% online, 100% asynchronistic. But the beautiful thing is bringing the diversity of experiences together for all of those people to be able to talk about the course material and the discussion board is really beautiful. There's I'm going to skip the second bullet point and come back to that. There are two options for completion. There's a 16-month track and a 26-month track. So the early one is called kind of fast track. So obviously you take more classes in a shorter period of time, and Charise can kind of walk you through the courses a little bit later on. Regardless of which track you're in, the student to faculty ratio is very, very small. So generally our classes are somewhere around 16 students per class. You meet one-on-one frequently with your professor, one-on-one frequently with your academic advisor, and you receive particular counsel for projects that you're working on, and also you receive individualized feedback for the assignments that you are submitting, typically extensive individualized feedback, so that you can both grow in the content area and then grow in the kind of academic process as well, writing and researching. The second bullet point is really what makes DMU so unique. And I mentioned this dealing with the origins of the school as well. So a lot of the the psychologists who founded DMU recognize that within the field of psychology, there is truth and value, but unfortunately also is undergirded at points by strong atheistic tendencies or reductionist tendencies. Think of Freud, that was very hostile toward religion. So the point of the founding of DMU was to actually draw in the resources of Catholic theology and the Catholic tradition, along with solid philosophy, mostly Aristotle, and really bring those disciplines into dialogue with the research and insights of psychology to develop a deeper understanding of the human person. And the argument that DMU makes is that through bringing those disciplines into conversation with one another, we gain a richer understanding of who the human person is and what the human person is called to, and how we can move the human person actually toward flourishing. So it really is a movement in psychology away from this disease model, kind of what's wrong and how do we fix that, to really looking at what your strengths are, being attentive to the spiritual dimension of the person, and trying to use the resources within psychology to move that person toward a state of flourishing and healing. Charise, could you go to the next slide?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So within the Master of Psychology program, there are kind of, I think, two different ways to think about the program professionally. So if you are in a career right now, as I mentioned, I've served as a youth minister and also been an educator in a Catholic school, then there are resources within the program that you can take within your current career track and deepen the work that you're doing, because it's focused on helping you understand human development as well as why people act the way that they do, helping you understand the decisions that they make. And then if those decisions perhaps are destructive to the person, helping you understand how to bring healing in a non-clinical way to those persons. On the other hand, the program also equips you if you are looking for a career change, also equips you with particular skills to go out into the world and to do something different than what you have been doing. Some of that has to do with setting up institutional programs, evaluating those programs so that you can be more effective in a ministry setting or um, in a more secular setting. Also helps you to develop relationships with other people so that you can help them in a professional setting move toward perhaps languishing in their job to more flourishing. So it helps in a managerial capacity as well. So there are ties in the program to counseling, to social work, um, to organizational psychology, and as well as cognitive behavioral therapy. You'll get pieces of that. It's a non-clinical program, but there are tools within the program that will help you in a variety of different settings to do your job better or to actually also do a different job.
Perfect.
Charise.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank
Hey,
you so much.
Charise will take it from here. It was really nice to be able to present to you all. And if there's any questions that you have for me, feel free to pass them along to Charise. I'm
Yes,
happy to answer anything. God
absolutely.
bless.
Thanks, Dr. Gross. Okay. So within the Master's in Psychology program, that Dr. Gross definitely well explained about the applied psychology focus that we have. We have within the program itself, we have specific concentrations that you can go into. Go ahead and read the column a little bit and see, and go ahead and write which ones you could be interested in, because I would love to, of course, go ahead and focus on those as well. Go ahead and write again, like what you are, which concentration you're interested in. And I'll give a little bit of background about myself as well. When I was completing this program, I was a working in ministry. I was a sacraments coordinator, but my background is actually engineering. I had one writing class in my entire life, and I needed more soft people skills. That's just what I needed. So that's why I went into this program. I decided to do a little bit more of a self-design track because I wanted to tailor the electives that would personally help my ministry, which was a little mix of a human services and a mix of leadership. So I was able to kind of choose a little bit more of the electives I wanted. So that's what self-design means. You can go ahead and write which concentration you could be interested in. And just, and I love this presentation because I'm like right here. I'm in the middle of this picture. And at the end, you are able to come up to the Virginia campus and walk in your graduation. And that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to meet the other students as well, since this was a 100% online program, but I wanted to meet the other students, the other faculty members. Let's see here. We have a lot of marriage and family. Oh, that's amazing. Marriage and family. Definitely. Leadership. What is the leadership concentration compared with pre-PhD? Very muchly different. Leadership, a little bit more organizational, about how to determine what kind of leaders you are, how you can create other leaders, how do leaders lead, um, that kind of, that's the leadership concentration. Family, self-design, unsure, young, youth, young adults. Okay, very good. Marriage and family. Hi, Lynn. Interested in marriage and human services bioethics. Very, very good. Human service. Okay, we actually got a good number across the board. So I'm definitely going to try to explain about each one. So within the program itself, we have 11 total courses, 11. And everyone goes through the exact same 8 core courses. Okay, and these are the 8 core courses. Helping People Flourish, a Catholic Christian Approach to Psychology, which is the first class. Getting you to understand the Catholic Christian meta model of the person, which Dr. Gross explained a little bit earlier. Developmental psychology, psychopathology, cognition, emotion, motivation, which I call this the brain class because it talks about how people make decisions, what motivates people, how does the brain emote. Very fascinating class. A lot more quizzes in this class. The course that Dr. Gross focuses on, which is the Catholic Christian Vision of Flourishing, Vocations and Virtues. That is the one theology course. Then you have statistics, which don't worry if you haven't done math in a while. It's okay. It's all good. Um, it's you do some math, but it's really focused more on can you interpret the data than doing the actual math. Social psychology, groups and diversity, as well as research methodology design. Okay, so again, these are the 8 core courses. Then you have three electives. For the marriage and family concentration, it prepares students to encourage couples and families towards flourishing in a variety of settings, such as marriage prep, marriage enrichment, relationship education programs, training mentor couples, becoming directors of marriage and family. These are the 3 electives for this track. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier that you don't have to declare your concentration right away. There is still time for that. But don't worry if you don't know now. It's okay. I'm just gonna go through all different kinds of concentrations here. So Catholic Christian marriage and human sexuality, that is another philosophy course that we have. And then marriage and family interventions, as well as marriage family systems theory. One of these is also a counseling course. I believe it's the theory course. I believe so. And then there are many kinds of career opportunities here. One of our alum who's usually focused, she's usually on like the front webpage of Divine Mercy. She's actually a director of marriage and family life. And I am one of these courses, I forgot which one, prepares you to become a focused marriage prep facilitator. So Focus, FOCCUS, is one of the marriage prep programs that we use in the Catholic Church. It's all over the nation, and you can become a facilitator of that program. Okay, really focus on if you want to help married couples, families, engaged couples. Um, this is the perfect track for you. The human services concentration, these are much more considered to be like counseling courses. Okay, so this concentration is intended for students who want to work on focusing human needs, promoting flourishing one-on-one, focusing on the prevention and remediation of problems. So I actually took 2 of these courses. And these courses are relationship intervention skills. And I also did group counseling and group work. I I I heard that the personalities course was an amazing course, and I might actually just go back and take it for fun, just to finish out this concentration because all of these courses are amazing, especially if you want to learn how to communicate better. Again, I was an engineer, not that I'm saying all engineers can't talk to people, but I just needed more help in that area. So the relationship intervention skills and group counseling was amazing because I also did a lot of small group work at my parish. It was amazing to learn how to lead groups in this way. So this is perfect for those who want to be in social or mental health service positions. Um, so case managers, human services professionals, grief loss counselors. Sometimes you can do a lot of mentoring as well, which I know one of my friends in my cohort does. Really amazing things with this concentration. The third one's the leadership concentration. I spoke about it briefly earlier, but it trains individuals who are responsible for leading people, programs, and organizations in variety of settings, including ministry, business, education, nonprofit settings. Learn to analyze evidence for transformational and effective leadership. Okay, so I actually took one of these courses. I believe it was leading people, programs, and organizations. And because I was a leader in my own parish, I really wanted to learn who I was what kind of leader I am and how I can create other leaders. So funny enough, it just seems like a lot of our students can be priests or teachers or stay-at-home moms or parents but those in ministry, but we do have a handful that work as VPs who work as human resources. This is the perfect concentration for you because you can have opportunities as a human resources manager, if you're an executive or you're a leader, even career coaching would be perfect with this track. So as you can see, the master's in psychology is very applied. There's so many different ways you can go with any of these concentrations. And you can again declare this a little bit later what concentration you want to do. So actually, a third of our students generally choose the self-designed concentration because you have an opportunity to choose the electives that you want to take. So generally, you choose one from each of the columns below. I mentioned earlier about the marriage and family, leadership, and human services track. So you can really choose one from each column. And that's really mainly for timing. Not every class is offered at every term. Okay. So again, I did relationship intervention skills theory from column 1. Oh, I did transformational leadership, sorry, wrong class, and group counseling and group work. These are amazing classes. And really, if you're in ministry, you can really, this is really good for you if you want to choose the courses you would like to take or ones that you are more interested in. Okay. So the pre-PhD concentration, this is very unique. This is this particular concentration culminates in a thesis. Now, if you are in a pre-PhD concentration, you do end up with a capstone project. That's more you don't have to implement your capstone project, but you do some research and you do recognize a need in your community or a gap in research that you want to research in, and you create a project that you would want to implement. Now, again, you don't have to implement it, but in my case, I actually did. Again, I was a sacraments coordinator, and just as an example, I was seeing that the First Communion program wasn't great. We had 250 kids every year, and it was always geared towards kids. And I realized that the children don't care if the parents don't care. So I created a parent formation program. I researched small group learning, generational learning, parish engagement, how to improve parish vitality, and all of that culminated into a parent formation program alongside the kids doing First Communion. So parents now had small groups that they had to attend and talk about serious topics about the world or something that they're going to teach their kids about First Communion. And by that first class, barely anyone talked. No one wanted to talk to each other. I realized that families didn't really know each other in the parish. Just because they belong to a parish doesn't mean they know each other. But by the end of that year, I had to tell the parents to stop talking. And it was just amazing to have that kind of parish engagement within families. And so that was my takeaway in the capstone. But if you did want to take the pre-PhD concentration, as I mentioned, you had 3 electives. 2 of those electives are taken up with thesis writing, and you have a third as a free elective. Okay, so this thesis writing is perfect if you want to go into PhD, if you want to do a doctoral program. And actually, I'm currently enrolled again in the pre-PhD concentration because I want to continue on to get my doctorate. And I'm doing my thesis work right now. I'm still researching what I really want to do, but I want mine focused on vocation fulfillment, unfulfillment, but I will be working on that. So you will be working on the thesis gradually. You'll take 1 credit per term as you are culminating in your thesis, and you will have to defend at the end. You'll be working with a thesis advisor, which is amazing. So again, this is perfect if you want to teach psychology, if you want to go ahead and do your doctorate level. Again, this is non-clinical, right? So think about research. Are you interested in improving academia? Do you want to head into that intellectual world? Add to the knowledge base of psychology. There's so much that can be done to improve psychology, and this is the perfect concentration for that. Bioethics. Now, the bioethics track is completely different from the rest because we work with the National Catholic Bioethics Center. They have their own track of classes, their own modules, and it's down here in the bottom corner. Foundations for Catholic Healthcare, Ethical Challenges, Beginning of Life, Middle of Life, as well as End of Life. So you would go through the National Catholic Bioethics Center to complete those modules, to complete your bioethics track. This is really perfect for those who are in healthcare, who are constantly being challenged by these ethical questions in their work day to day. And then you can also just get the certificate of bioethics itself, and we can discuss that. That you would just take a few core courses as well as the 9 credits to the NCPC. Okay. So for those of you who are worried, probably maybe you haven't done learning in a while, online learning, maybe kind of scary, but do not worry. Canvas is actually Canvas, which is our learning management system, is fairly intuitive. You have the ability to really learn anywhere, anytime. The beauty of having 100% online program is that we actually have a lot of international students as well that go through the program. So while the due dates are on Eastern time, you still can access Canvas anywhere, anytime. I've actually gone on vacation. I was on a cruise ship and I was able to access Canvas on my phone. So there's still a way to get your work done. There are videos, books, classroom tutorials, audiobooks, all of that is included in the tuition. Now, all the articles, book chapters are offered to you in PDF. If you want to get the book yourself, that's fine, but you would get it out of your own pocket. But again, the resources are part of the tuition. And again, you have weekly individualized feedback from the professor, which I think is amazing because I think for me as an undergrad, the most feedback I got from a professor was my grade. So I think it's great that the professors here really care about your progress and how you're doing. And you're always welcome to talk to any of the professors. Even Dr. Groves is happy to talk to any prospective students in the program. This is a short list of faculty, the core faculty. Dr. Clousley is the program director, and we talked about Dr. Gross. We saw Dr. Gross earlier. I actually had a class with every single one of these professors in my time here at DMU, and they were all amazing. I'm not going to tell you my favorite one, but all of them were amazing. And honestly, I had a great time with each one. They were all very supportive, and you can always talk to any of them. You are assigned an academic advisor at the beginning of the program, and mine was Dr. Williamson, and she helped me develop my capstone project as the program went on. So it was an amazing time. So now down to where the rubber hits the road, let's talk about admissions requirements. Bachelor's degree from an institution, agency recognized by the U.S. Department of Education or internationally recognized institution. If you have an international transcript, you would have to get it evaluated for equivalency here in the US, and there's many companies that can do that. Applicants must have at least a 2.5 GPA to be admitted. Should be really at least 2.75. Let's remember that we are entering into a graduate level work. I'm not saying that undergrad wasn't hard, but graduate level work is definitely a lot more competitive. Definitely need to have that level of competency. 2 letters of recommendation from either academic or professional source. Best would be either of those, but if you can't find either of those, we can discuss other ways to get that recommendation. A resume, a written statement, and a written statement of intent indicating how your goals align with the goals of the program. Remember that this is a non-clinical program. If you are wanting to look at clinical, I am happy to forward you to our master's in counseling, or if you want the doctorate in clinical psychology, I'm happy to forward you that information as well. Okay. TOEFL and IELTS scores if you were from a non-native English speaking country. TOEFL is very important. These English proficiency scores are very important if English is not your first language. And then we also have a orientation, an onboarding process prior to start in class. So how are you? Let's talk about if grad school is affordable. And I totally understand that the world right now is not really being helpful in this regard, but we do qualify for federal aid, student loans. Talk up to your employer for any tuition reimbursement. We do qualify for approved veterans funding, GI Bill, Yellow Ribbon. We do participate in those programs, as well as scholarships and grants. Okay. Scholarships and grants, all of that can be found in our website. And we have wonderful scholarships and grants. We have a wonderful Department of Financial Aid, because what happens is that once I receive an application, financial aid will also reach out to you to determine all scholarships and grants that are available to you. They will set up a meeting with you and you can discuss all of that. The best one will be the merit scholarship. You can get up to 50% tuition discount. and that's the highest scholarship that we can offer here at DMU. The easiest one is if you are looking to start in January, is the early admission scholarship. Early admission scholarship. If you complete your application by the end of September, $1,500 taken off your tuition. Okay, definitely keep that in mind. Alternative financing, private funds. I actually ended up paying about a third out of pocket, a third with student loans, and a third with scholarships. And I definitely was able to make a little bit of sacrifice every month, because the nice thing about DMU is that they have cash plans as well. So you can set up monthly payment plans, interest free, so you don't have to so it doesn't hit the pocket quite as hard. Okay. This is the direct cost for tuition. Okay. Direct cost for this particular degree, 876 per credit, which is 33 credit hours, comes down to 28,908. There is a technology fee to use Canvas, which is $50 per class. And then there is a residency fee. The only time you actually have to be present on Zoom, which is a Friday and Saturday during that first class, but we can talk about that a little bit later, of course, but the rest of the time will be asynchronous. Comes down to around 29,708. And there is a $55 application fee, but if you reach out to me after this webinar, I can give you a code to waive that application fee for coming in today. Now, Dr. Gross talked a little bit about the fast track option. There are two ways to complete this program. The 16-month track, which is just over a year. You're taking about 2 classes at a time. There is a 25% discount on the first 4 classes, so the total tuition there is around $27,000. And if you're taking it slow, like me, I was a full-time worker. I took 1 class at a time, and it averaged about an extra 15 hours a week, which was perfect. It took me about just over 2 years to complete, and this is the estimated tuition for that track. Okay. So I know I also want you to know that we do try to work with every student for every available scholarship and grant to you. But just so you know that this is the total program cost. Now, the only cost I would see that is not associated with this would be graduation, which is a little further down the line. So given all of this information, probably a lot, but I would love to know if you feel like this is the right path for you, that if all of these classes can help you make your ministry, your work better, or if you're looking for a career change, will this program help you attain your goals? And I know some of you are asking about clinical. Go ahead and write down your email. I'll make sure to forward you to the right person. Is the program scheduling requirements for successful completion workable with your schedule? For me, the biggest problem I had was I was not a writer prior to this program, and now I am. But they had amazing writing resources for you. Tutor.com, 24/7 librarians. I mean, it was amazing, and I had a lot of help doing APA style writing. So definitely think about if there's anything that, any requirements that you feel like you have any questions with, feel free to email me. We can talk about it. Do the financial options discussed along with support from our financial aid department make the program seem affordable? It is possible. Definitely, if you want to achieve your goals, definitely it is possible. You're investing in yourself doing this program, and it is amazing. And can you commit to the successful completion of the program if accepted? So everyone, please write down my email. This is also my phone number. Feel free to also text me if you'd like. This is my information. Happy to help in any way. So I want to jot down all of these emails that I'm getting. I'm also here for a few more minutes if anyone else has any questions. I'm here to help. And C Bennett, 2 N's, 2 T's at divinemercy.edu. Yes. Denora, did you have a question? You can write it in the chat. Okay, clinical, good. When do classes start? That's a great question. The next start will be January 2025. I can't believe it. 2025. Amazing. Hi, Maria. How is the process of licensing? So again, this is a non-clinical, non-licensed program. But in general, with licensing, after you complete, let's say, the master's in counseling program, you would sit for the licensing exam in your state. 100% of our students who graduate from the master's in counseling pass their licensing exam. A little tidbit there. Any other questions while I'm here? Everyone jot down my email. Feel free. I want to make sure I grab also all the emails that got posted on here. Any other questions for me? Bioethics pre-PhD in self-design. Yes, perfect. Is the test open book? Generally, yes. It's helpful. But you only have a few tries. So generally the quizzes are a little bit longer. So, but it is open book. Would you say the program is appropriate for a non-Catholic? Yes. We actually have a lot of students that are also non-Catholic. Christians, I've talked to a Buddhist, one who is an atheist. Is the test open, the licensing test? The licensing test for counseling to be a counselor is not open book. It's not. How should we determine if we're better suited for clinical? So I get that question a lot because I have a lot of friends who are clinical and also non-clinical, and they had their own reasons. But personally, for me, if you love to talk to people one-on-one, if you do not mind talking about people's problems 40 hours a week, if you have that gift of taking on other people's worlds and remembering the details, if you don't mind the paperwork or the licensing process, the ethical processes that come with being a therapist, really think about that. Because it's not just giving people advice. It's not just listening to problems. It's really more than that. Are you attentive enough? Will you be willing to be attentive enough to be with someone every week, understanding, entering their world, and helping them towards flourishing? That's really what you want to be as a clinical person. How many intakes are there in a year? Well, we have 3 starts every year. We have January, May, and August. On average, it's around 20, 25. I'm Canadian. Would I be eligible for financial assistance? The conversation is crazy high. Oh, the conversion. Yes. Yes, you would still be eligible for financial assistance. And again, we do try our best to find a scholarship or grant for every student. Thank you so much for all these questions. These are amazing. Thank you. I love it. For all those who are clinical, I will be emailing y'all. If you don't have any other questions, how long of a program is the license track? We don't have a license track. We only have the master's in counseling. That's 3 to 4.5 years, depending. It's twice as long as the master's in psychology program. It's 66 credit hours. Let's see. I'll make sure I capture all these emails. Any other questions while I am here? Happy to help. Clinical. Okay. Timothy, I got you. Lori, I got you. Dr. R, I got you. Kyle. So what I'm going to do for all those clinical folks, I will connect you with the admissions advisor with counseling, and definitely she can give you a lot more information about licensing. How many intakes a year? Oh, Denora, okay. So just so you know, the master's in counseling is really geared towards those in the US, since we have specific licensing requirements in the US. Apologies, I missed a lot first. Can I watch the recording? Yes, there will be I can also send you a previous recording, Sabrina. for the, yes. Another webinar. Okay. The phone locking. Oh, I'm so sorry, Michelle. So helpful. Thank you. God bless. Be well. Thank you so much for coming in today. We don't guarantee work placement. It's master's in counseling predominantly for people who want to do counseling. Yes. So imagine counseling as its own house. Once you enter that house, once you get that license for that house, you stay in the house. But if you're thinking about the master in psychology, you can enter so many different houses: social work, teaching, human resources, so many other places you can go with psychology. And counseling, you are just stuck in one, you're stuck just doing counseling. Oh, yes, Maria, happy to forward you to our counseling admissions advisor. Any other questions while we here? But thank you so much for being here. Happy to answer any questions you have. Feel free to reach out to me. And if you are thinking about applying, reach out to me so I can give you the code to waive the application fee. Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, Michelle. Michelle, can you write down your email address real quick? Thanks for everyone for coming.